college football playoffs in a couple days, Chiefs dynasty over, and did the Lakers peak too early? Join us on episode 50 and the last episode of 2023. Join us on the final seconds.
What's Orlando flow? Yeah, I'm on the beat. High school, I rode a bus, but now I'm riding GMC. I ain't paid for it, but I prayed and Puck gave me the key. Now I ain't riding a foreign, but I get.
Hey guys, back to the final seconds. Big episode 50 for me and Eli.
Yeah.
And also, it's the last one of the year. Moving on to 2024 after this episode.
I know, that's so crazy. We've almost been doing this for a year. It does not feel, it has flown by. 2023 in general has flown by, but I do not feel like we've been doing the podcast for a year. That's wild.
Yeah. We've talked about a lot of topics.
Yeah. No, we've covered everything. Me and Aiden have talked about a change being made in 2024. What are we waiting for? The Super Bowl, we said? Just kind of.
Yeah, right.
I think we
probably
said maybe right before or right after.
Before or after the Super Bowl. Somewhere in February.
Just kind of spicing it up, We're getting mild views, not many. Just kind of growing our brand, creating more shorts, posting them to Instagram Reels, which we really need to do. Hopefully we've got just better quality videos, podcasts, and something that keeps people coming back to watch. So look for a change in 2024, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Hopping right into it then. College football. Okay, so as Aiden said, playoffs start this week. Some of the games of the week: Georgia versus number 5 Florida State. Not a playoff game, but still a very good game that a lot of people are looking forward to. Can Florida State get an upset without, obviously, Jordan Travis, because he had that season-ending injury? Does Georgia have key players missing? Do you know? Do they have Carson Beck?
Yeah, Carson Beck's returning for next year. All their guys I think are playing.
No? Will he?
I think so. I'm not sure. I think Georgia will kill him.
Their tight end is not playing. What's his name?
Brock Bowers.
He's not playing, right?
I don't think he is. Yeah, I think he's
gone.
He's
declaring for the draft, and that's just.
But I still think that Georgia's gonna kill Florida State. I think maybe Florida State keeps it a little close, but
I think it's similar to the national championship game last year, where it's just clearly unmatched. Georgia will be on another level, and I think Florida State gets dominated.
Yeah, the ACC is no match against the SEC.
I'm cheering for Florida State, though. I would love an upset.
I think Florida. It'd be fun to see Florida State win. If Florida State won, though, there would be a lot of controversy.
Oh my gosh!
For the CFP.
Yes.
So actually, I kind of want them to win now. I know. That'd be interesting.
It would be a lot. Number 4 Alabama versus number 1 Michigan. Does Alabama upset Michigan, and does whoever win this game win the national championship?
So the Wolverines, which I was a little surprised because everyone's like Alabama's going to win this game, hands down. You can never bet against Nick Saban, but the Wolverines are favored by 2 to win the game.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get people are like, Alabama's, the powerhouse, but the Wolverines have looked really good this year. I mean, and everyone's in this is their year. They've got a really old team. They're all veterans. They've all been here, done that. Alabama's a lot and complete opposite. They're all really young, which is, good for Alabama's future. But
oh yeah,
I kind of want to lean towards the Wolverines side, just with they have good players and older guys. Yeah.
I am against you. I think it'll be a good game, but I agree with you cannot bet against Nick Saban in the playoffs. I think Jim Harbaugh has struggled majorly in the playoffs. They got crushed by Georgia the first time they were in it. Yeah. And then last year, they lost to TCU. I think they stand no chance against Bama. I think they lose by at least 13. At least 13.
13. Do you think whoever wins this game though wins the national championship?
No, actually, I don't. I
You don't?
really think Washington and Texas, I both think are good teams. Alabama lost to Texas earlier in the year, and
Mm-hmm.
Washington is one of those teams where everybody's like, yeah, they're in the Pac-12, so the Pac-12 just beats up on everybody, and they're not actually good teams. I think Washington is a legit contender this year, and I think they're sneaky good. I think so is Texas. I think neither Bama or Michigan wins the national championship.
Neither?
Neither. I think
Wow,
Texas or Washington wins.
that's a big statement. I think I'm the opposite. I think whoever wins, either Bama or the Wolverines, I think wins the national championship. If Bama beats the Wolverines, I for sure, hands down, even if they play Texas again, I think they beat Texas. I think it's a revenge game and they win. And if they play Washington, I think they beat Washington. If the Wolverines win, I think um I think it'll be a lot closer games if they play Texas and Washington. I still think they're going to win those games.
Okay. I mean, I think this is one of the most evenly matched playoffs we've seen in a while, and I think it really could go anyway. So
yeah, there's so many good teams this year.
yeah. And then, as we were saying, number 3 Texas versus number 2 Washington. Michael Penix, the vet, versus Quinn Ewers, the kid. Do you think Washington gets the upset as Texas is favored?
I think Michael Penix and Quinn Ewers play a very different game. Like they're very different
Yeah.
quarterbacks. Um I think Penix is better. I think he can throw the ball, sling it. He also will run if he has to. And Ewers will too. I just think Penix also has got a lot more experience. Um, but I think that game could be a track meet. I know Texas has a good defense. So Texas, like, they're favored. If they stop Penix, it's gonna go in favor a lot for Texas. But I think Penix will have a lot better day. I think he'll exploit the Texas defense.
Once again, I disagree. I agree that Penix is a better quarterback and has more experience, but I really believe in Ewers, and I think he's played really well this season. And although he's young, um, I think Texas has a more complete team around them. I think Washington has some guys, um, but I think Texas just has better players at every position or at most positions. Um, and I like Texas here.
I agree. Texas definitely has like a more complete team. I like Quinn Ewers. Um, I think it's gonna be a track meet. I think Texas will win, but like a last minute turnover, a stop on fourth down, something like
Yeah.
last minute, and it's super close.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'll be a really close game too. I agree. I
Yeah.
100% agree with that statement. Where it comes down to the very end.
hmm
Okay. College football quick pick. Virginia Tech versus Tulane in the Military Bowl.
I'm gonna go to Tulane.
I think I'm gonna go Tulane too. I remember, yeah. I'll pick Tulane for this one.
They're
I'm going to.
I'm they're live. I'm watching them right now. Virginia Tech, they're winning 10-7.
Oh, they are okay. Yeah, I still
Yep, in the
think
second.
I'm going with
Yeah.
Tulane. I know. Oh, wrong thing. I know I have me and my buddies at school all did a bunch of picks, so I know I have that. I just have to find that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I really like Tulane. I loved watching them against Ole Miss earlier this year. It's a really good game.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that game. Yeah, that was a fun game. I have Tulane. Okay. North Carolina versus West Virginia. Duke's Mayo Bowl.
North Carolina.
I have West Virginia. With Drake May sitting out, I believe. So
I
took North Carolina or West Virginia. 15 Louisville versus USC in the Holiday Bowl. USC finished unranked. That's crazy.
I think Louisville wins this. Close game.
Yeah.
But USC does not have a defense.
I was gonna say, without Caleb Williams, without a defense, I think Louisville wins.
Yeah.
Texas A&M versus 20 Oklahoma State in the Tax Act Texas Bowl.
OSU.
I have OSU too. You know I'm a big OSU guy, so every chance I get, I will take OSU. 24 SMU versus Boston College in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. What? The Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Okay. Let's see.
SMU.
I have SMU. Yep, SMU for sure. Rutgers versus Miami in the Bad Boys Mower Pinstripe Bowl. Okay, this makes sense. Bad Boys Mower Pinstripe Bowl. How does that all relate to each other?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Regardless, I have Rutgers.
I'm gonna go Rutgers too.
18 North Carolina State versus 25 Kansas State. Oh, the Pop-Tart Bowl. I've seen a lot about this one. Isn't their mascot edible?
Uh-huh, yeah.
And their trophy has slots for Pop-Tarts in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's see. I have Kansas State.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kansas State too.
14. Sorry about that. 14 Arizona versus 14 Arizona versus 12 Oklahoma in the Valero Alamo Bowl.
I'm gonna go Arizona because Oklahoma does not have a quarterback. He already transferred. Dylan Gabriel.
That's right. Who is this? Oklahoma versus who? Oh, Arizona. I picked Arizona too. Yeah, because of that. Yeah. 9 Missouri versus 7 Ohio State in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. I do believe isn't Missouri favored now?
No, Ohio State's favored by 3.
I've got them too. I've got Ohio State.
Yeah, I've got Ohio State too. I think it's in a close game though. It's good. I think it's gonna be a good game too.
This game, I am so excited. I want to see Devin Brown play. I think he is going to be so good, and I'm not even just saying that. I think without pressure of like a quarterback competition, I think he is going to be really good. And he's a runner. Oh, I love this. 22 Clemson versus Kentucky. Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. I've got Clemson.
I'm going to go upset Kentucky. They upset Louisville in their rival game the last time they played. I think they upset Clemson.
Okay. 19 Oregon State versus 16 Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Oregon State. Memphis versus Iowa State. AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
I'm going to go Iowa State.
Yep. 11 Ole Miss versus 10 Penn State. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. This will be a good game.
Penn State.
I have Ole Miss. I should pick Penn State, though. Auburn versus Maryland. Music City Bowl.
Maryland.
6 Georgia versus 5 Florida State. Capital One Orange Bowl, Georgia.
I'm going to go Georgia 2.
Toledo versus Wyoming. Barstool Sports, Arizona Bowl. Wyoming.
I'm going to go Toledo.
Okay. Wisconsin versus number 13 LSU in the ReliaQuest Bowl. LSU. Yep. 23 Liberty versus 8 Oregon, the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Oregon.
Oregon kills them.
Yeah. 17 Iowa versus 21 Tennessee, Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee. Iowa can't score.
No, they cannot. Tennessee's also starting their young freshman.
Mm-hmm.
4 Alabama versus number 1 Michigan, college football semifinal, Rose Bowl.
The Wolverines.
Alabama. 3 Texas versus 2 Washington, college football playoffs semifinals, All-State Sugar Bowl.
Texas.
Texas. Okay. NFL. Recap from last week. The Dolphins defeat the Cowboys 22-20. Are the Dolphins legit now with their first win against an opponent above 500? And can Dallas still make a run in the playoffs? Or will, I guess.
I think the Dolphins are legit. I think they keep getting better. I think they're going to win the division. Everyone's like, oh, the Bills still have a chance. I think they're going to win their division, keep the 2 seed in the playoffs, and I think they're going to make a little run. They play the Ravens this upcoming week, which is going to be a really good game. Could be a preview of the AFC Championship.
I think they'll get beat.
We'll see how they play. The Ravens look good, but I think the Dolphins, they looked really good. They looked good against Dallas. Tua struggled a little bit, but they lost Jalen Waddle early in the game, so
Yeah. I think the Dolphins are legit, but I still believe in the Cowboys. I still have hope for them, and I still think that they can make a run in the playoffs.
They're ending the season their December has been a little rough. They've had a couple losses, and the playoffs are around the corner, and everyone knows what happens with Dallas in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They never can make it past the divisional round.
I know. And I think they will make it to the championship.
The championship? NFC Championship?
Yep.
I don't think so.
Okay. Browns defeat Texans 36-22. Joe Flacco or Deshaun Watson to start next year? It's crazy that's the question we're asking. The Texans didn't have C.J. Stroud, so that definitely affected offensively them. But the Browns just dominated, and Amari Cooper had like 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. Joe Flacco had another 300-plus yard game. Joe Flacco is playing amazing.
He's 3-0.
I mean, I think you have to start Deshaun Watson, but that's so crazy.
It depends what happens. The Browns, I think, are right now kind of one of the best teams in the league, and are kind of like just sneaky. They have I think the best defense in the AFC easily, and one of the best defenses around the league. Say probably the Niners is a little bit better, but the Browns have a really good defense. And Joe Flacco, he's won a Super Bowl, and the Browns have looked really good. They're like the 5 seed in the playoffs right now. I mean, they could win the division still if the Ravens lost the last 2 games and the Browns won the last 2. But I really like the Browns. I think Joe Flacco, I think, again, it depends what happens this year. If Joe Flacco takes them on a little run to, the AFC Championship or whatever, then I think you start him. I mean, even if Deshaun, I know you're paying him a ton of money, but you want to win. And the Browns, have not won a ton.
Yeah. No, they have not. I agree. It's just crazy. The Ravens defeat the 49ers. They crush the 49ers, 33-19. Is Purdy still the future for the 49ers? And will the Ravens win the Super Bowl this year? Yes. And no. I think Purdy is still the future. Purdy had a very rough game. 4 interceptions. I think I only saw one of them, and it wasn't his fault. I saw one was a screen pass that the defensive lineman jumped up and tipped, and then it floated in the air, and another D lineman caught it, or whatever. They got tipped up in the air, which I wouldn't put that on him. I don't know the other ones, but Purdy is still the future for the 49ers. He had one bad game. I know it was against a good team, but still.
Yeah, it was against a good team, and he lost the game for him. He had a lot of bad throws. They went in the red zone. He would throw a pick. He lost the game, and it's a good team, and this is going to be the playoffs for him. So, it's a lot of concern. If you're a 49ers fan, they had Sam Darnold play the last couple drives. They benched him.
Yeah.
So, Purdy's got to play a lot better. He only had 7 picks from week 1 to week 15, and then had 4 this past week. So, it's not like him to do that, but I don't know if he lacked film study or is just, a good team. I know the Ravens have a good defense, and Lamar played really good against the 49ers defense. He looked like an MVP.
But I still think he's the future. Like last year in the playoffs, he never played like this. And he was amazing up until he got hurt, and then he could not play. So
yeah,
I don't think.
It depends what happens in the playoffs. If he makes a run or goes to the NFC Championship or goes to the Super Bowl or wins the Super Bowl or whatever, then yeah, I mean he is. But if you go in the wild card game and the 49ers play the Rams or whatever, and he goes in and throws like 3 picks and they lose the game, well then there's a lot of questions in San Francisco. Yeah. It depends how their season plays out,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I think it definitely raises some concern. And then, now defenses might find ways to stop Purdy. I know the Ravens brought a lot of pressure all night, and the 49ers O-linemen went down like flies. Yeah. So a little bit of concern, but
yeah. Games of the week: Lions versus Cowboys. Does Dallas bounce back, and does Detroit get a big win? Detroit gets a big win.
Yeah.
Dallas.
This is why I don't.
They're on their downhill run, and then they'll win last week of the season, and then they'll make a run to the playoffs. But I think the Lions get a win here, for sure.
Yeah, I think the Lions.
I think they win by 10.
I think the Lions win too. Oh well, actually, I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys because they've never lost at home. They've never trailed at home, and it's in Dallas. So actually, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys, but I think it's a really, really close game. Yeah, I think the Lions will keep it really competitive.
I'm excited.
The Lions. I wouldn't. If the Lions get a win, it's good for them, especially going in the playoffs. They need a couple big wins. Because they kind of struggled in the midseason part. They started out really hot, being Kansas City, and I was just like, oh my gosh, the Lions are back and kind of gone under the radar. But this would be a big win for them. Yeah.
Dolphins versus Ravens, AFC Championship preview. Who gets the number 1 seed? The Ravens get the number 1 seed for sure. And I think the Ravens are the better team, but I'm excited. It's something to look forward to. It's a good game. And I think the Ravens get the 1 seed, get the win, but definitely a preview for the AFC Championship, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Ravens win. Their defense is a lot better, more complete team. And Lamar has looked really good. But I will say, we talked about the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. The last time they were the number 1 seed was 2 years ago, I think, and they played the Titans in the divisional round and lost.
That's right.
So
yeah, but
even if they're number 1 seed,
it's true. I still believe in them. I think they're a different team. I think they're more experienced, and Lamar's a lot older. Like you said, has more experience. It was a while ago,
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Bengals versus Chiefs. Kansas City lost again. Will they lose to the Bengals? And can the Bengals make the playoffs?
I think Kansas City does lose again.
I don't think they lose this week. I think they come back and get a win this week, finally.
I mean, they've looked terrible. Like, just offensively, like, I don't know if, like, me and my dad are talking, like, if it's, like, film study or something, like, is, like, they win the Super Bowl and they come back and think, they just come in and win, like,
yeah.
Or are they focused like Taylor Swift? Is that, like, too much of a distraction? Are they getting distracted, outside of the game of football?
Yeah.
But they've looked brutal. And they still have good players. Their offense, mostly, it looks brutal. And they have Patrick Mahomes, one of the best QBs in the game right now.
Yeah. I think they get a win this week, though.
I think if the Bengals win this week, I think they go to the playoffs. If they don't, they aren't going to make it.
I think they miss and lose this week.
And I don't have hope in the Chiefs after losing to Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. Quick pick. Jets versus Browns. Browns. Lions, Cowboys. Lions.
Cowboys.
Raiders, Colts.
Colts.
Patriots, Bills. Falcons, Bears. Falcons. Rams, Giants. Rams,
yeah.
Cardinals, Eagles. Saints, Buccaneers. Niners, Commanders. Niners.
I'm going to pick an upset. Commanders.
Upset Sam
the
49ers. Okay. Panthers, Jaguars. Yeah, Jaguars, I agree. Dolphins, Ravens. Texans, Titans. Texans. Hopefully CJ Stroud is back and it's Will Levis, CJ Stroud, battle of the young QBs. Steelers, Seahawks.
Steelers.
Chargers, Broncos. Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers. They just benched Russell Wilson.
I know. Bengals, Chiefs.
Bengals.
Packers, Vikings. Packers. Packers, yeah. NBA recap of Christmas Day. So this is all you. I did not watch any of this, so this is your segment. The Knicks defeat the Bucks 129-122. The Knicks win the Eastern Conference this year. Will the Knicks win the Eastern Conference this
year? No, I don't think they do. I think the Bucks will win it. But the Knicks, Brunson looked really good against Giannis. But Giannis, he played well. They both dropped a lot of points, pretty back and forth, and like a really close game. But they play. I think this is their second time playing, so they still play 2 more times. But I think the Bucks still win the Eastern. Giannis has looked good this year. I know they lost in the NBA in season to the Pacers, but Pacers have been on a little losing streak.
Yeah. Celtics defeat the Lakers 126-115. Did the Lakers peak too early?
It's kind of funny because The Pacers and the Lakers, they're both in the NBA in season championship game. And ever since they were in that game, they've both been on like huge losing streaks.
Yeah.
They're both like one game above 500 right now. So I think they kind of did. I think Celtics, I mean, are a really good team still. But yeah, I think the Lakers peaked a little early. I think they'll find their, LeBron's been in the game forever, so he'll rally, the young guys. But I think
Yeah.
they did peak a little early, winning the tournament.
Okay. Mavericks defeat the Suns 128 to 114. Why are the Suns struggling so much?
Their defense is terrible. Luka dropped like 50 on them, and Devin Booker can't, like, he's only averaging like 25 points a game. They're not making shots as well as, their defense is brutal. They're letting guys like put up 40, 50 on them. Luka had a day. That's why they smoked the Suns. The Mavericks did.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. Whatever. Moving on. Last segment. NCAA men's college basketball. Quick picks. Eastern Kentucky versus 1 Purdue. Purdue. Illinois versus 8 Kentucky.
Illinois State.
Or Illinois State, sorry. Illinois State versus 8 Kentucky.
Kentucky. We haven't seen the ukulele much this year.
I know, it's right over there. I'm looking at it too. I'll break it out. I save it for March Madness. It's special. Radford versus 8. Radford versus 18 Clemson.
Clemson.
Charleston Southern versus 9 North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yep. UNC Greensboro versus 21 Texas.
Texas.
Oh, yikes. Fairleigh Dickinson. Fairleigh Dickinson versus 11 Illinois. San Diego State versus 13 Gonzaga. Adams State versus 15 Colorado State.
Colorado State.
Yeah. Arizona versus California. Arizona.
Yeah. Arizona, but close game.
Sure. 22 Creighton versus 10 Marquette. Upset alert. Creighton. Queens University. Is that New York? Is that in like Queens, New York?
I have no idea.
That's messed up. Queens University versus 16 Duke. Where is Queens University? It is Queens University. Toronto? It's in Canada. Or there's Queens University. It's Kingston, Ontario, Canada. And then there's Toronto campus. And then there's Queens University of Charlotte, but that's in North Carolina. Wow, it is really in Canada. Okay, good to know. Texas State versus 20 James Madison.
Yeah, James Madison.
Wichita State versus 2 Kansas.
Yeah, KU.
Wyoming versus 14 BYU. BYU. Pennsylvania versus 3 Houston. 7 Florida Atlantic versus Florida Gulf Coast. A location, not a school. Where's off the Florida Gulf Coast? That's not a school. Regardless, Florida Atlantic. Neither is Florida Atlantic, I guess.
Florida Atlantic.
Austin Pay. I think we had this P, I'm going to say. Versus 19 Memphis. Memphis. Oh, tongue twister. Monmouth. Right? Monmouth versus 12 Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Bryant versus 24 Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
College basketball's not real, I swear. Ole Miss. Ole Miss. Thank you so much for tuning in on the last episode of 2023. Can't wait to see you guys back in 2024. Happy New Year's, Merry Christmas, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Yeah. Baby, tell me what's the move. Got a Louis bag, but I can tell it ain't from dude. Chasing dollar signs, and you can tell that she don't play. She don't really care what people say.